stand up.
What up, y'all? Good morning, and welcome to another edition of the Brothers of Legacy. I am your host, A.D. Walker, the pusher, the grower, the motivator. I appreciate you guys for rocking and hanging with us. Just a quick mic check. Thank you guys for being here as always. Thank you for being a part of all that we do. Who's that in the building? Lisa. Good morning, my friend. Good morning. Thank you for sharing. As always, make sure you share. Sharing is caring. Sharing is caring. Let's see. Today we are discussing. Let's see. Boom. Change that. Today we are discussing: Can we unite to fight one common enemy? And this topic came from a conversation I was having yesterday with a gentleman I do live from time to time, and I get an opportunity to talk to different kinds of people, which is a beautiful thing. You know, we get matched up, and we get to have a conversation along the way. And for the most part, I like to hear what people think. It's never too much back and forth unless we having a real asking conversation. But it was pretty interesting conversation, and it made me think about our level of division, and not just relationally or racially, but as far as society as a whole. Some of the things, sometimes I feel like we may be, like we're divided by design, and a lot of people agree, but we don't do enough to try to break through that barrier of divide in order to get to our common goals, in order to make real change in certain areas. Granted, some things we're going to probably be always divided on, and whoever on our side has the most say or the most votes will get our agenda done. But if some things just need to be attacked from a majority whole, like we just, because there's certain things we just all agree on, but we're so divided that we can't get to the stuff we agree on. So I want to kind of tackle that today. And maybe just me. I got to see if my brothers are going to come through and all that. Let's see. So let me go ahead and kick it off, do some sharing, do some texting, do some messaging, and see what we're going to do today. All right. So I appreciate you guys for being here. Appreciate you guys for rocking with us and hanging with us always on the Brothers of Legacy. Let's go ahead and get started, and we'll be right back.
I want to welcome you to the Brothers of Legacy broadcast, where we are changing our community one conversation at a time, every day.
We are creating a new legacy.
Change gon' come, change gon' come, change gon' come, change gon' come, change gon' come.
A co-op has to start with ownership. We have a mindset of either I want to make a lot of money or survive. Make a bunch of money or I got to figure out how to survive.
When you have a real bond, when everyone has, we come in with real expectations. Because this is covenant.
The whole premise is that we as a people, with our money and time, aren't often making this general possible, often invested in the business.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Thank you, guys. Yeah. Okay. All right. Good morning, Pastor.
Good morning. Happy Thursday to everybody.
Happy Thursday. Yes.
Hey, Lisa.
Let's go. All right. Awesome. All right. So today we're talking about can we unite to fight one common enemy or just get to one common goal? This conversation I really thought about yesterday. Like I said, I was in a lift with a gentleman, and he's it's probably a 20-minute ride. He drives, he's currently a truck driver, and we were talking about he's a military. Well, I think he's still in. He's reserves, and I was like, and I truly mean it. I'm like, thank you for your service, because my thank you for your service is you went out there where I couldn't do it. It's like somebody had to do it, and I appreciate you sacrificing and for whatever your reasons to get out there and do it. And his reaction was like, I was like, was it? He was like, no. He said, I appreciate that. He said, man, I got a whole nother view on the military. He said he'd been in it. He started in the 90s. His last, like, so he's like, when he joined, he's like, I didn't think we was at war, but he got in, he went to Kuwait, during the Clinton years. So in my mind, I was like, all right, we're gonna have a conversation like, is it gonna be like a political, I don't like this president's, this side of the president, but like this. He said, I went over there. He said, then I come, he said, and during Trump's administration, they changed some of the rules of the not the GI Bill, but yeah, the GI Bill, like some things
the GI
like
Bill left in the 80s.
Not like, yeah, but he was like something with the
VEEP,
something with schooling or something
program.
Yeah,
the VEEP program, and then it came out with the new GI Bill.
Right. He was something with school and some rule change. He's just like and pretty much he's like, I don't like any of them. He's like Trump, Obama, Clinton, Bush. He's like, since being in the military, he's like, these things look different, and he's and he was just saying like, we can't, he's like, we just devise, it seemed like there's division by design, kind of like how we always kind of been saying, like, no matter what we can probably all agree on, there's always something to keep us divided, some argument, some social, I won't say engineering, but there's always like to keep a majority of us from kind of getting with the other majority, because of course there's always the fringes of every thought process, whoever is conservative, then there's like the ultra conservative, like all the way on the right. Then there's those that are like moderate liberal, but then there's a super liberal, like all the way on the left, like, that me and you were like, you asking a lot, like you asking some serious changes, like some things it got to have some kind of balance, and I feel like we struggle because like now and honestly, unfortunately, at least from our perspective, hey, good morning, Deborah. What, the Trump administration has done, and yes, it's brought some things out, but at the same time, I think it's divided us even more. You know what I'm saying? Like, like some things people probably like didn't care like a whole lot about, and then it became forefront of an argument. It's like now I got to defend it or talk about it, and I didn't really care that much about it. But it's kind of like I got to just have a side. It's like I got to pick a side. And why is it that you have to pick a side? Why can't we have conversations about what can we agree on that needs to be changed? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's never 100% on everything, but at least can we get to a 90%, to make certain changes in our country or communities as well. And I know people say, well, blacks don't all stick together either, like, and I mean, granted, yeah, that's an issue, because sometimes like the faces that people make, like if I say Trump said something nice, like, Trump was right about that. What? Like, I mean, he could be wrong about 90. He can be right about some things, and I tell people one thing I think I did like about him was the fact that he just, poke at old systems. Like, why are we in that? Why are we doing that? Why are we a part of that? Like, is it really feasible for us to be doing that? Like he questioned, I'll at least give him that. He questioned certain things, the status quo, like, why we been doing this, and like with NATO and just questioning like some of our are agreements. Like, why are we in this? So I will say that, and I know everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, are you a Trump supporter?" No, I'm not a supporter. I just agree with some of the statements he made. Like even some of the folks I don't like, they can say stuff. You like that one right there. I'm rocking with you on. So what's up, Richard? Oh, he said, "Hello, my American brothers and sisters."
Why we got to be American?
Right.
Why can't we just be brothers and sisters?
Right? Can't we just brothers and sisters? Huh?
There have always been Sadducees and Pharisees. There have always been Hittites, Jebusites.
Right.
You know how far back you have to go for us to just be a people? You got to go back to the garden.
Right.
Right. Cain and Abel.
Right.
That division.
Right.
And so you must realize that there has always been my people and your people. The question is, how do we find common ground? You spoke to a soldier who said he got in the 90s. He got in when I was coming out.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Because I ETS'd in 1990. I came out of the military in 1990.
What does that mean? What does ETS mean?
In term of service.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So when I was in the military, we were all green.
Okay.
You knew people had different backgrounds.
Right.
But when you put that uniform on, we were one color.
Right.
Gotcha. Period.
Gotcha.
Right.
Gotcha.
When I was overseas, I had very little contact back home.
Right.
When I was stationed in Korea, I think I talked to my mother outside of her writing me letters. I had an actual verbal conversation with her, I think twice during the entire 13 months I was gone.
Wow.
Other than that, it was via letter writing.
Right. Okay.
And I didn't speak to anyone.
Wow.
Back home that entire 13 months that I was gone, except my mother. And that took military intervention to have a phone conversation with her.
Wow.
Right.
Wow. Okay.
So that's what communication was like in the 80s. So I can't imagine what you didn't talk in the 70s.
Right.
Only letters.
Right.
But now you have cellular phones, you have sat radios, you have you have internet, people walking around with laptops, and they have all of this information at their disposal.
Right.
When I was in the military, you obeyed the orders of the commander in chief.
Right. Yeah.
Period. Without question.
Right.
Everything had an order. If it was validated, if the order was given and it was validated, you carried it out. And there were no questions asked.
Gotcha.
Now everybody has questions.
Right.
Because everyone has access to more information.
Right.
When I was in the military, when I was in basic training, you didn't have an opinion. The drill sergeant said, "When I want your opinion, I'll give it to you."
Right.
That's what they said.
Yeah.
And I saw that change.
Really?
Yeah. When I left, they started getting lighter. They lightened up because the laws changed. They said they were too hard on people. So we watched people come in behind us where they didn't have to go through the same excruciating process that we went through going into basic training. It was just different. And we couldn't understand it. It made us ask questions. Why are they getting treated differently?
Right. Yeah.
Than we were treated. Well, they changed the laws. Yeah, but this is basic training.
Right.
Why do I have to see that?
Right.
And I'm still here. I remember what you all did to me.
Right.
You're not going to do it to them? Right. So much so that when the drill sergeants weren't looking, and remember, it's all relative because those new recruits coming in, they were scared of everybody.
Of course, because you don't know what you're going to get.
Right. We didn't look like new recruits.
Right.
And so we would trick them.
Wow.
When the drill sergeants weren't around, we'd make them do push-ups. We'd have to do all kind of crazy stuff because they didn't know who we were.
Right. Bro.
That was us getting some get back. Right. So that could do something to their mindset.
Yes.
Right. I get mad at everybody. Why are you doing this? So all that kind of. So I'm saying that access to more information changes how people feel. It changes your perspective about things.
Yeah.
And that's what has happened in the military. That's why you have so many people second guessing. And that's why there's conversation about, a military coup at this point, because everybody has chosen sides. Even in the military, you're no longer green. Now you're shades of green.
Right. Yeah. I feel like, honestly, that's generally what happens in a lot of other countries. The military coups. The separation, the changes. That's where things can get dangerous. Because government's overthrown. Because generally, it's the military that overthrows the government. That at least historically that we see. People protest, but the military actually takes the action to realize, yeah, we about to take over. Like this is enough. For whatever reason, bad or good. So yeah, it's interesting. So I always, like I said, yeah, and it's funny because he used the word. He said we need some kind of revolution to happen. I was like, interested. I think, and it's funny. Like, I don't know how anybody else feels. Like you want change, but it's like, in my mind, like a violent change is just not gonna be good. Like it's just not gonna be good, because it becomes, when anarchy happens, things like the purge happens. Who do we decide is on what side, and and allegiances and things of that nature. Like, I'm trying to be, what is it, Switzerland? Like I'm just trying to live and be neutral, and now you're forced to pick a side. But yeah, it's crazy. Like I don't know, just the conversation was just kind of just made me think about, is it, and there will always be sides. It's always always a decision. It's either you're black or white. It seems like this. That's just life. It just seems like it's always some kind of level of a decision. I just think some things, if we could, I don't know, somehow meet in the middle road. Like it's just,
the question is, what do you consider middle road?
Right. What do we consider middle road?
Can we
agree on that one first, right? right. Like, I don't know.
Well, there's a lot, but I don't. But see, the thing is, I value differing opinions.
Yeah, I do too.
It's important.
I love it. I like to hear what people thinking.
I also recognize that not everyone is going to be like me.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Not everyone is going to believe what I believe.
Right.
I just want to respect you in your beliefs.
Right.
I don't want to discount you because of your beliefs.
Right.
So don't discount me because of mine, because we don't agree on what we believe.
Definitely.
What happens is, if we don't agree, you become on one team and I become a person on another team. And now I find reasons not to like you.
Right.
Not to want to associate with you. But remember, even the Bible tells us that light has no fellowship with darkness. So the problem is, if I feel like I'm walking in the light and your belief causes me to believe you're walking in the dark, I have no fellowship with you.
Right. Yeah. That's. I think that's the great issue right there. Like, if my opinion isn't, my opinion's not dark, it's just not your opinion. It's not. Like I just don't. Like so, and then some things are like, I agree. We can get to this space. I just don't agree going about it that way. Like, and I think that's the biggest thing. Like, I agree that some change needs to happen. But then I know, like, the divide between, I guess, for lack of a better way of putting it, like some black sectors and other black sectors, or feeling some feel like racism no longer exists. Whereas some feel like it's still here. Like it's
again,
like,
it's relative.
Right.
If you're not if it has not directly impacted you,
right,
you believe we're past it, we're beyond it,
right.
And when someone says we're not, you don't respect their position,
right.
You say they're misinformed,
yes,
or they're overreacting to something.
Right.
It's not that serious,
right.
And then you have the complicity of those who recognize that it's still there, but they pretend like it's not.
Nah, that too.
So there's so much of that going on, but that is in every area. I mean, you can sit at your dinner table, have a family gathering, and we really need to talk about, who left the water in the washing machine.
Right.
But because you don't want the confrontation, everybody pretends like it just didn't happen.
That's true too.
So there's so many areas in life where we deal with this, and these are the things that create confusion. They create disruption.
Right.
They create division. And so I do believe that it would be wonderful if we could all come together and find one common enemy.
Yeah.
But first, you got to believe that there's only one enemy.
Right. Yeah. There you go. Sitting out of my house.
We talk about who left the water in the washing machine. Hey, Sam. But it's great. It's great conversation to have. But I think that the conversation begins, like Samantha said, it begins at home in the family. Let's learn to overcome these barriers in the family.
Right.
Let's learn to overcome these barriers in our community.
Yeah.
Let's learn to overcome these barriers in our church, in our affiliations.
Right.
Let's learn to overcome these barriers in our fraternities.
Right.
In our sororities.
Right.
In our business offices.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely.
In our HOA.
Right.
I mean, there's so many areas that if everybody had that common focus, but that's just not the world we are operating in today. That's why it's so important to do what James says: examine yourself, right, and recognize that there is one common enemy, and the enemy is the devil,
right,
who creates division, who wants confusion, dissension. That's the goal of the enemy, to keep us divided. And so now you have to ask yourself, who's working for the enemy?
Right.
Because a lot of people are wearing the enemy's colors, but don't know they're wearing the enemy's colors.
True. I think, as far as the divisiveness, I think it's just being willing to just listen, just hear someone out, and I know, like, if I've done my research on one side of YouTube, I'm solidified in my thought process. You've done your information, because it's funny, right? Because I've gotten vaccinated, and my sister-in-law, she's been pro-vaccine, but like, I tell her, like, though I am, this is what I believe the vaccine, does, and things of that nature. Like, I'm not buying into all of the other stuff. Like, I've seen I've seen consistencies and certain, like, this part of the vaccine, I believe this is what it does, but that other stuff, I'm a little, and she wants to. I'm like, I'm just telling you, like, I got it, but I'm not drinking all of the Kool-Aid on it, because I'm like, I'm still in it, but I got it, but I'm just, like, so, and it's funny, like, we don't go into it, because I know I was like, we're not gonna do this back and forth. It's fine. We're on the same team. I'm just telling you, my feeling about it, and it's always such a crazy thing when, like, just my thing is, like, hear folk out, hear them out all the way, like, even if you maybe even ask why, but let me ask you this. Is it fear that you might agree with me? Why folks don't want to hear you out? Is it fear
sometimes
that you might be like,
yeah,
you're
because
right about that.
It's not just the fear that I might agree with you, but it's the fear of what happens when I agree with you and I still have to go back to my village.
Right.
Because they didn't hear what I heard.
Right. Yeah. And it happens. Like, you go sometimes even school or something. Somebody says something, brings out a textbook, give you some historical reference. You're like, my family for years have been saying such and such, but you're saying something to the contrary. You're just like,
there was a scene back in the 70s when the movie Roots came out. and they had got this group of people from Africa, got them on the boat. And anybody that saw the movie Roots remembers the beginning when they were on the ship, in the belly of the ship, and there was one tribe leader who said, talk to the person next to you. Learn his words.
Right.
Teach him your words.
Right.
And together we'll defeat the white man.
Right.
You remember that?
I remember that. I do remember that. I didn't see it all, but I remember the beginning part too.
Yeah. It was a critical scene.
Right.
And it's my daughter trying to call me. It was a critical scene that I take to heart today, not to defeat the quote unquote white man.
Right.
But to have better communication, more effective communication. Right. You know, learn his words, teach him your words, and together. See, when I learn your words and you learn mine, we get closer together.
Right.
If we never communicate, we will remain on opposite sides of the field, of the situation. Right. And that, I mean, that's back in the 70s. And what's interesting is that was a movie back in the 70s about the institution of slavery.
Yes.
And it's still a conversation today.
Right.
There's still a language barrier today. There's still a disconnect today between the races that were being filmed.
Right.
It was being portrayed in film.
Right.
In the 70s.
Yeah.
Right. So what I try to get people to understand when we talk about coming together politically, coming together financially, because everybody's got a financial plan.
Yes.
Everybody's got a different financial plan.
Yes.
There are many ways to climb the mountain.
Right.
Right. And just because we differ in our position on how to climb the mountain, the goal is that we all keep climbing.
Yeah, definitely.
And I don't know how we break each other down, kill each other when everyone is supposed to be climbing.
Right.
You know, I remember, and I know I'm rambling. I was in the military, PLDC. It's a primary leadership development course. So you take when you're becoming a sergeant, a non-commissioned officer in the military. They teach you, they put you through this leadership training course. It's called Primary Leadership Development Course, PLDC. And I remember having my rucksack on my backpack. They used to be rucksacks. That's what they were called back then. And I was climbing this mountain, and the guy that was next to me was falling behind. Now, we had to get to the top of this mountain by a certain time. We had to meet an objective because we had to get to the place where they were going to drop our food off. You missed the drop off, you were going to go hungry.
Gotcha.
Right?
Okay.
So we had to get up this hill, and he was falling back. Now, I have a backpack with a radio in it. So these backpacks are about 110, 120 pounds. I had a radio with batteries. So mine was heavier. He had less weight than I was carrying, and he couldn't get up the hill.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'm getting to the top of the hill. I see the instructor at the top of the hill. Right. Your man's falling back. You're going to miss the objective. What are you going to do? I was a corporal at the time. What are you going to do, corporal?
Right.
I'm like, I'm leaving. I want to eat. Right. But if I leave him, my mission is incomplete.
Right.
Because we didn't all make it.
Right.
So I have to slow down. I got to grab him and his backpack and try to pull them both. And I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. It's not working.
Right.
So I literally, at that moment, took his rucksack off his back.
Wow.
Carried it and mine so that he could get himself up the hill. Wow. Right?
Yeah.
If everybody had that mindset.
Right. Indeed.
Instead of sitting, I could have left him there, called him weakling, and made it up the hill, and got the zero. But at least I made it up there. Right. So I'm saying, like, there are a number of solutions to that problem.
Right.
But every solution is going to cost you something.
Right. That's good. But I think, and it's right there though. It's the having the mindset of what's better for all, as opposed what's just good for me, you know.
Well, and that's not even what's better for all. It's what's best for the goal.
Right. That too.
right?
That's true.
And in that sense,
Yeah.
you're bettering all because
Yeah.
the objective is to accomplish the goal.
Right. But you know, it's
and,
crazy.
And leave no man behind.
Right. But it's crazy, like you said. And that's like true of life. Like, but my bag is heavier. like I'm carrying my weight and then some. This dude behind me got less. Like, why should I accommodate, for someone behind me who got less, know? Oh, and I think and a lot of time that's the mindset. Like, man, why are they struggling? We the same.
When we were doing PT,
yes,
he wasn't paying attention. He wasn't putting in the work. I found out that in doing PT, when you got 35, 40 people out there doing PT,
yes,
and you're the instructor, you can't see everybody.
Right.
So there are certain people skipping out on a couple of those push-ups.
Wow.
There's certain people skipping out on a couple of those leg raisers.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it doesn't come out until you hit that mountain.
It's time to perform. Wow.
Right. You go to your church, everybody ain't laying before the Lord.
Right.
And when the enemy comes in like a flood, you know who's prayed up. Right.
Yes.
Everybody driving a Mercedes doesn't have money in the bank.
Right. That's the truth.
So those are the things. And so my point is, there's room for improvement on every side.
Definitely.
We don't have room for negative criticism.
Right.
And when there is constructive criticism, be big enough to accept it.
Right.
Constructive criticism doesn't make me your enemy.
Right.
It actually makes us better.
Yeah. Definitely.
So it's all of those things. Hey, Mom.
Yeah. Hey, Mama Corey. So yeah, that's good. I think opening your mind to to how what you feel or believe affects more than just you. A lot of times that's the biggest thing. Because we all like remember someone said you have, when it comes to the economy, there's the macro, there's the micro, and then there's my economy. Because certain parts of the world, when the recession was hitting, things were closing, my economy was great. Like, if you ask those sectors of folks, they're like, I didn't see a recession. Yeah. I didn't see a problem. Even now with like COVID, certain sectors like, man, we struggling. You go to others like, oh man, we killing the game. We've done more now than we've done ever. So yeah, it's all about perspective. And then, like I said, for the greater good of the goal, what are you willing to either compromise, or conversations you're willing to have for the greater good of the goal? Because when you grow up, especially if you grow up a certain way, your mind is kind of solidified. And it seems like the older you get, the more just like, this is how we do. This is what we do. This is how we do. Or even just accepting, well, this is just how things always are. Like that's, I think to me, that's kind of the hardest one, because, like it'll never change. It's just what we do, just what we accept, and I think having the mindset to listen, to do better, to grow, and to be willing to make the shift, at least listen, to be able to make changes, in your community, in your state, or even in the country. It's just that willingness to listen, and I think that's like the biggest struggle. And like you said, with information now, I think we have so much access to it. We've got too much access. So like any opinion I have, I can find loads of YouTubes that'll agree with me. I just type it in. They just, yes, you're right. You're right in that thought. In
the church, I say this all the time. I'm like, if no one has a question, I can't tell whether I've succeeded or failed. If no one has a question,
right.
Like there are no questions.
Right.
If I've spoken for 45 minutes and there are zero questions,
right.
Either you weren't listening or you don't care.
Right.
Or because it can't be that I was perfect.
Right.
Because I'm not.
Right.
So why are we not talking about this?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Is it the fear that my position has you feeling like there's a level of intimidation where you don't feel like you can say anything?
Possibly.
Could be the position,
yeah,
but it's definitely not my personality.
Right. Because I've been in, you've been in places and organizations and, like you don't feel so warm and fuzzy to speak up, like, and you just, and we always had those, the boss that someone says something, boss throws some sarcastic remark, you be like, well, I ain't saying nothing. I ain't saying a word. He already attacked my man and he didn't even really ask nothing. Like, oh, so you really don't want us to say anything.
And the thing is, your question might save someone's life.
Right.
There it is.
He said, Pastor was
there it is. That's it.
Oh,
pick the lid.
Having conversations is definitely key, and I think in religious spaces sometimes people feel like they can't ask questions. It's just be either where just the way you've grown up, just you don't ask questions. When it's said, you don't ask questions. You're just like, no, I can't ask. Like, it's not adding up. I don't get it.
If I'm always right, we're in trouble.
Right.
And here's the thing: like the word is right.
Right.
But I'm not always right.
Right.
Indeed. So the question is, when you're teaching the word, is your interpretation aligned?
Right.
Someone sent me a snippet Ricky Smiley had on his radio show the other day. Pastor Todd. Anybody know that young pastor, Pastor Todd?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You wanna talk about stirring up a hornet's nest? Did anybody? Y'all tell me if y'all heard about this situation with where is he at? Is he out of Texas?
I think
Houston,
so.
somewhere.
I think it's Texas. I think so.
Where he's on his platform and he brings a man up on stage and he's talking about.
It's his brother.
Oh, his brother.
It's his brother. Yeah, just for context.
Confirm that.
Yeah. Yes, it's his brother. Mm-hmm.
Older brother, younger.
I'm guessing it look like it's older, but I know it is his brother. So,
and he pulled up the scripture where the spit,
yes,
and the dirt, and he rubbed it together and put it on the eye. Yeah, and you saw it.
Yeah,
okay.
Certainly saw it.
That stirred up some stuff.
Yes, it did.
Here we are in this COVID-ridden
right
environment.
100%.
And this brother is acting out what Jesus did.
Yes.
Now, one would say, you're not Jesus.
Right. That's one. Yes.
That's one.
Yeah.
Jesus did that.
Right.
But Jesus was the Word incarnate. He was the Word wrapped in flesh.
Right.
We are Jesus incarnate. We are the flesh wrapped in the Word.
Right. All right.
So the toxicity of your saliva is far different than the saliva of the Word incarnate.
Right. Indeed.
Doesn't mean you're not a healer.
Right. Indeed.
Jesus said, the works you see me do, even greater works will you do.
Right. Yes.
But he also said this kind cometh but by fasting and prayer.
Right.
My question is, as confident as I am in my ability to lay hands on the sick and the sick recover, as confident as I am in believing and trusting that there's power in these hands to lay hands and heal.
Yeah.
What you did on stage was improper because, number one, he wasn't blind.
Right. That too. Yes.
So you were acting.
Yes. Is an example.
You can give the
And-
example without spitting in your hand.
Right.
Now, the other person, one other person could say, we had an agreement before we came out here.
Yeah, because I feel like
This
he
is what
knew.
we were going to do.
I feel like he knew.
And I had to get his commitment that we were going to be able to go this far.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, man, he must have paid him good for that one. Because he hawked up a loogie. I mean, I
know. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, you know, the scripture tells us, let not your good be evil spoken of.
Indeed.
And he knew before that he was going to be targeted.
Yeah.
But he also knew it was going to put his name out there.
Yeah. He was having a Kevin Samuel moment.
I'm not going to say whether he was right or whether he was wrong.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what God told him.
Right. Yeah. Because he can't.
I don't know what him and his brother talked about.
Right.
I just know it looked nasty. And to his point, deliverance can be nasty.
Yeah. I mean, he made it. He made his point.
He made the point.
Whew. Because when I was watching, and I was just like, don't do it. I was like, please don't do what I think you're about to do. I saw him do it in his hand. I was like, please don't do what I think you're about to do. and Sam had seen him. And she said, keep watching. I said, no, please don't tell me you're about to do what I think you're gonna do. And but
hey, listen, my only concern, because you made your point.
Yeah, definitely.
There's no doubt that you made your point.
Yeah, he did.
I personally would not have taken it that far.
Right. And I was just thinking, I was like, I've seen some antics, some high level antics that he has risen to number one. Like I've seen some stuff, and I've never, that one was, whew. But yeah, like I said, it's not to judge right or wrong, because we don't, like I said, we don't know what God told him to do, what showed him to do, so we can't judge that. Just the antic was just kind of, it's rough. It was just rough to see
the timing of it.
Yeah, that too. There's
something to be said about being in a COVID-ridden society and you spitting in your hand and rubbing your saliva on somebody else's face. Well, I'm sure they both got COVID tested before.
Yeah, I would hope so. Yeah.
But if that was my brother, after the show, I'm calling after the show because it was theatrics to me.
Right.
You're gonna take a couple to the ribs. Or maybe he got him before he got the rib shot before.
Right. Oh man.
But again, everyone takes something different away from it.
Definitely. I think it's just finding the common ground and being willing to have the conversation. I think we can build better if we just were honest with each other and had the real conversation. And I don't know. I think we're really sensitive to a lot of stuff that we shouldn't be so sensitive to. I don't know. Even when it comes to politics, sometimes it gets like, I mean, I get where people come from, but I'm like, man, just let's talk it all the way out. Like unless I say something really disrespectful, let's just talk it all the way out. Me saying I like a particular person shouldn't start an argument. It should be like, but why? Right. Overly sensitive. I'm telling you, it's just so.
But you're a product of your environment. You're a product of how you were raised,
probably
how you were cultured, how you were nurtured.
Yeah.
If you were brought up constantly having to check yourself. Right? If somebody's always questioning you or trivializing your position on stuff, your thought pattern and all of that, you're going to be sensitive.
Yeah.
And so you don't know where people come from.
Right.
We say it all the time, you don't know my story, but do we really understand what that means?
Right.
And in a lot of cases, when you make the statement, "Ooh, you too sensitive," how would you know? What are you measuring it against?
Right. You're right.
Against yourself?
Right.
Against you and your crew?
Right.
How you were raised? Because you don't come from where I come from.
Right.
Where I come from, you know, I've heard that too much, and it bothers me every time I hear it. You don't know how many times I've heard it.
Right.
So we have to be careful.
Yeah.
You know, I get it. Well, man, how careful can you be?
like,
right?
Yeah.
That's real talk.
Right.
You know, but what I'm saying is, if we could all just be a little more open-minded and open-hearted, I give everyone an equal opportunity to get to know me and me know them.
Yeah,
clean slate for all. Yes, for those who have the patience to get to know you, for those who make room for you to express yourself, that works, Sean.
Right.
But for closed-minded individuals who want to hang out with you, but don't want to hear what you have to say at that moment,
right?
What does that do to you and your ability to continue to hang with them? Can you hang in long enough for them to be able to trust that what you have to say is relevant?
Right. Right.
Or are you going to be like, you don't listen to nothing I got to say, so I'm going about my business?
Yeah.
How long does it take?
How long? Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Indeed. That's true. That's true.
God owns time. I don't.
Sam said, I'm saying you're too sensitive for me. I don't think this is going to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. But what happens if that becomes your position with everybody?
Right. Right. Right.
Now you have to look in the mirror like, ooh, well, maybe I'm a little too harsh.
That's a possibility. That's a possibility. Definitely.
Right?
Yeah. Definitely. I think
what I'm saying is that's the world we're in.
Right.
That's the level of diversity that we have with regards to personalities in this world. So what can you do?
Right.
You stay prayed up.
Yeah.
You be a friendly person. He that is to have friends must first show himself friendly. And not everybody's going to receive you. That's okay.
Yeah.
And guess what? You're not going to receive everybody. That's okay.
Right.
But just be careful how you treat people, how you interact with people. That's the bottom line.
Right. Right.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah. It's yeah. But I think, just trying to have, I think, reasonable conversations, because I'm like, always like, my thing is whenever I'm driving or whatever, I always try to listen, like, no matter how crazy or erroneous or like that's way off the deep end for me. Like, I don't agree with that 1,000, like, even if I don't even like what you're saying, I try to listen. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I got one ride, because it's not going to, help going back and forth. I'm gonna just listen, just hear what you say, and try to understand where you're coming from, because, like I said, I've had a lot of different conversations, political, and, got hit with folks that was like, wow, I didn't think, you're young, you're this way. I didn't think you would believe that, so it's always been an interesting kind of meeting different people, and trying to be sensitive to them. And then, like, if I got time, I'm like, well, can I present to you a different kind of thought process? Like just something I've been thinking about, kind of thing. He said, good tips for listening, right? Right.
Listen, everybody has a value that they put on someone else.
Okay.
Yeah, Oklahoma. That's it. Thank you, Deborah.
Okay. I'm about to say Texas.
There's a value that I place on you, AD. Our relationship. There's a value.
Right.
And there's a realistic situation where I'm going to give you more leeway, more room than I'm going to give other people because of the value that I place on our relationship.
Right.
Someone could see that and call that respect a person.
Right.
But I don't care. You don't know how far we've come together.
Right.
So you have to respect that.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? That's for someone looking in.
Yeah.
So the issue that we have is sometimes if there's a common, the best way that I could put this is this way. The Bible talks about 12 disciples. But we know that there were more than 12 names around Jesus.
Yeah.
Right? We know the ones that have been highlighted, but there were more than 12 who followed him regularly.
Right.
And even with the 12, there are 3 that are talked about more than the 12.
Right.
So we get that everywhere. You can't get into every meeting.
Right.
You can't be a part of every conversation.
Right.
Everybody plays a role.
Yeah.
Everybody can't throw the football. Everybody's not the quarterback.
Right.
You might want to be, but you didn't put in the same kind of work.
Right.
Quarterback can throw it, but it can't catch it.
Yeah. True.
So if we understand, and I think that the biggest thing is setting expectations, understanding roles and responsibilities and all of that, and not comparing. I mean, we know this stuff. This is stuff that we've been taught when we were in preschool. Teamwork. Be careful what you say. Don't be nice. Use your words. Use kindness. Use your manners. These are. It's amazing how we teach these things to our children, but we forget these things as adults.
Right. That's good.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we wonder why our children, while they are impersonating us, we call them acting up, acting out. But the truth is, they are just acting out what they see.
That is true.
Right.
That's true. Yeah.
So
definitely,
I blame the grown folks.
Right. Sum it all up. It's all your fault. It's your fault. So I appreciate you guys being here and rocking with us. We're gonna definitely dig into this conversation some more. Trying to find that common bond, common unity, and how we can build together. He said, "Please, thank you." He said, "Message from Pastor." Right.
Thank you, not thank you. Did you usually could you say please?
Please, right. I said please. Oh man, appreciate it, Mama Corey. All right. So we look forward to seeing
love
you.
all of you. Thank you all. I appreciate you. I hope that this has been educational but also entertaining.
Right. Exactly. All right. So we look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow, same time, same channel, Freestyle Friday. Make sure you share. Just random share. Like, hey, I was watching these brothers. You might want to check them out. Just give us a check out. So just do that. Just for me. All right. So we see you guys tomorrow. Make sure you continue to stay safe. Know that we love you. God loves you more. And we'll see you in the AM. Peace out. As always, we love you. Know that God loves you more. Stay safe. Thank you guys for rocking, hanging, being. Make sure sharing is caring. All of my replay peoples that watch in the back.